We're back. It's time for the 2024 Urban NerdCon. Join us in Atlanta, Georgia, April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel. Special guests include the Sci-Fi Sisters, Underworld creator Kevin Grievous, from Nickelodeon, Giovanni Samuels, the Science Machine Michael Green, from Spaceballs and Star Trek Voyager Tim Russ, and from the Fairly Odd Parents Gary L. Gray.
What up, y'all? It's Gary Gray. Check it out. I need you to do something for me. Join me April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia for Urban NerdCon. It's going to be lit. Okay. Our heroes, our villains, everyone's con. See y'all there.
Visit theurbannerdcon.net to get your buy one, get one free badges before the price increases. Remember, our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
But you stay on hard.
All right, hello. Welcome to another live episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford and A.D. Drew here. A.D., how you doing tonight? Happy Easter to you, by the way. Happy Resurrection Day. Happy Easter.
I am doing fine. And Blue Jacket, don't even start it. It's too early in the show to be starting all that trash talking, man. All that mess.
He didn't even start. Did he start with at least a happy Easter, happy Resurrection Day? Come on, man. You coming in?
He just came in, just slapped me in the back of the neck as soon as I walked in the room, man.
Hey, he's asking about. I thought he'd ask about another sport. He asking about those rankings. I thought he would ask about another sport. No comment. The computer's been acting funny over the last couple of months. That's all I'm gonna say. But hello to everybody. Happy Easter, happy Resurrection Day to everybody out there watching. Hopefully, you and your family had a good Easter morning. Maybe attended a resurrection service. I have a tradition, Drew, that I've become rather fond of. I like to kind of wake up and kind of get out somewhere in a good line of sight and see the sunrise on Easter morning. I used to enjoy, maybe as a youth, I used to enjoy getting up and going to sunrise service. That was one of the things we used to do on Easter. So I guess I kind of enjoyed as an adult now, really trying to find somewhere where I can see the beautiful sunrise and just kind of thank God for everything and thank Jesus for giving his life for us. So I don't know.
Brian, why I can appreciate sunrise services. I never enjoyed sunrise service, even as a youth.
What?
Because now here's the thing. If you do sunrise service, possibly Sunday school, and go to the house, I can survive that. But
I know what you're about to say.
when I as a kid, my aunt would pick me up and go to church with take me to church because my mother went to her church. I went to church with my aunt. Just one of those things. It's just how it happened. You know how that goes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this was my father's aunt. So is that your grand aunt or your great aunt or whatever you want to call it? But anyway, how can I put this? Sunrise, Sunday school, regular church. Then if there was then there was the Easter program after regular church. Man, yes.
Did you get some food in? Did you get a chance to eat something? Because them hunger headaches start to kick in, boy.
Yeah, you ate, but God, dog, man. So that's my disdain for the sunrise service. It's nothing against the service in principle.
Of course. Nothing against the message. Nothing against the
I
message.
was traumatized as a youth for having to stay in church 10, 12, 14 hours on a Sunday.
Yeah,
And then as you got a little bit older, as you got a little bit older, and once I started watching basketball as a kid, there was always remember, basketball used to be played on Sunday afternoon. So you was gonna miss that first game anyway.
Oh, you mean during like the club season and things like that?
No, I'm talking about doing it on TV. You were gonna miss that first game.
It's still on in the afternoon. I mean, they didn't start the men's game until like 2:00.
Right, but they used to start early. Everything was done before 60 Minutes came on and the evening news came on.
Yeah. You had to be done before 60 Minutes came on at 7:00. You had to be done.
Exactly. Yeah. And then don't forget, I was in Central Time Zone, so that's 6:00.
Oh
which really messed me up.
Yeah, what's interesting is as youth sports has taken over a lot of lives of parents, you have tournaments, basketball, I have friends who have kids playing volleyball that are having to get up at early morning, and I'm like, okay, you
drive 3 hours.
Yeah, drive 3 hours, or basketball. So I remember those Easter tournaments, and you got stuck scheduling those, and you have to do all the weekends because you have the Easter weekend, you got the Mother's Day weekend, you got the Memorial weekend. All of those are club season tournaments, where because kids usually have like a Friday or a Monday off from school, tournament organizers are like, well, hey, let's play a tournament during that time. And everybody's tournament is like, yeah, we got to play that weekend.
I got some beef, man.
With
club organizers.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I got some beef. Now, especially nowadays, when they send out the thing, because I still get the memos from my days of coaching on the AAU circuit and travel baseball circuit and all that stuff. I still get the emails. This weekend you get that no games on Sunday at the top of the email. Mother's Day weekend, no games on Sunday.
Okay.
But what happens on Father's Day weekend?
Oh, yeah, we gotta have some games on Father's. Well, because they figure you fathers want to be in the gym.
It don't matter. Mama get the day off, Daddy get the day off. Let's be fair. I want to file a Title IX complaint against club organizers for not treating the men equal.
All right, you falling down on.
I'm going in a rabbit hole all by myself.
Yeah, you are. I'm gonna let you go down there. No pun intended with the rabbit hole, right? I see what you did there. Shout out to the folks checking in early.
There was definitely none because I didn't even catch it after you.
I'm listening to you though. Shout out to everybody listening. Appreciate you guys tuning in wherever you are, whether you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. You might even be watching us on Twitter via the Black College Sports Network. Twitter feed, or might even be watching us on Instagram. Hello to everybody watching us on Instagram Live. Shout out to the folks who already jumped in early. Of course, Blue Jacket for Life. Appreciate you. Jimmy Mack, Demetra, Mary 305, Chuck Hunt coming in from, of course, Monroe, Louisiana. Tamara T, good to see you all. Coach Ferrasi checking in. Happy Easter, happy Resurrection Day to.
Don't have one of your Langston guys on here later, Coach.
Yeah, exactly. Coming up in the hour number 2. Langston University men's basketball head coach, Coach Chris Wright, is joining us. We promised, we talked to Coach before the tournament, I believe. And so we get a chance to talk to Coach following the national championship game. What an outstanding game. We'll talk about the highs and lows of, I think we've all been there, Drew. I think if you coach long enough, 20 years, I think both of us have probably coached some 20 something years at various levels. We've gone through both sides of what Langston went through on Tuesday night. You've been through the comeback and the late win, and you've been through the heartache of losing one that you probably should have won. And it just sucks that it was in the national championship game for Langston,
Bryan, I still tell the story of the last high school game that I coached. And it still traumatizes me. And anybody who listens to this show on the regular knows I am not a referee basher. But if there was ever a call that was blown, I won't say blatant, but a call that was blown, it happened to be in that game. And speaking of, can I take a point of special privilege?
Sure.
Speaking of, because ironically, there's a player of mine who actually played in that game for me, and she's gone on. She had a 4-year career at Langston. 4-year starter at Langston. And why did my screen just go all out the way? I'm trying to share the screen. Give me a second.
This was in your last high school game that you're referring to,
yes,
right?
In my last high school game, yes.
Right.
There it is. And I hope is that sharing there, Bryan?
Yes, it is. I see it. We see it.
Anyway, I just want everybody to take a moment and log onto your Facebook page, and I'm gonna put the link in the chat once I finish this talk. But vote for her. She's in her first year as a teacher. She was a 4-year starter at Langston. She played for me in high school, Morgan Hunter. She's trying to win a competition as America's favorite teacher. One of the prizes that she gets if she wins her classification is a trip somewhere out. Don't remember where the trip is, but you can vote once a day for her. And if you make a monetary donation, your vote counts. You get 1 vote per dollar that you donate. So I have voted for her daily. She's currently in 2nd place. So I'm hoping that the power of my microphone will help get one of my ex-players over the top. And she is an HBCU alum, everybody. So just like everybody on Tuesday night was pulling for Langston, I need everybody on Sunday night to go vote for Morgan Hunter.
Where does she teach out of? What school district area? She's
in New Jersey teaching. I forgot. I want to say she's just outside New York, somewhat between New York, Newark, New Jersey. That she's teaching at. I don't know specifically the city or the high school, but I just put the link into the chat. So if everybody could click on that link, vote for it. We always tell you hit the like and subscribe button. We got one extra step this week. I want you to hit the like, subscribe, and vote for Morgan Hunter today while you're doing all that. So I would greatly appreciate it if you would vote football. A very bright young lady. I hope she gets into coaching one day because she was she had a very high basketball IQ. So don't know if that's in her future yet.
All right. And what you may want to do is during the break, create a short link of that, like one of those bit.ly links, because I noticed it's a heavy link and it may have
I didn't even realize when I did it. I'll see if I can go and create that.
Yeah, you might want to go back later or just later and create a bit.ly link, a short link. Okay. All right. Since you've taken us there with the point of special privilege, I'm gonna lean on the public here. So we're at halftime of this North Carolina State Duke men's tournament game. Now I have a plus 1,300 future on North Carolina State to make it to the Final Four. Just a little pizza money, Drew. Just a little pizza money. They are currently down 6. Currently down 6 to Duke, 27-21. They had a horrible drought in that first half where I think they were like 1 of 8 or 9 shots, but somehow they're only down 6. So I need to figure out what direction do I go here to hedge this bet. Again, I'm being honest here, I only spent $5. But the payout, plus 1,300, Drew. Come on now. That's pretty significant. That's gas, a meal or two for the week, right? So I need to know, do the second half line is something like 7.5 or 8. Do you bet on Duke? Do I just ride it out with NC State? Now it's down to 4. What's your thoughts, Drew? Quickly here. Any words of advice?
You're not gonna get me to bet against Duke, man.
Damn.
That's all I'm gonna tell you.
You riding with Duke, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
You're not gonna get me to bet against Duke.
All right.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Chuck.
I don't know where there's value here. That's a foul. Oh my goodness, they called a travel? Jesus help me. All right. So anyway, I just don't know where there's value on Duke right now. I don't like Duke at minus 8.5 live in game. I don't like minus 500 on Duke. I just come on. Anyway. All right. I see this is going to be one of those games I'm gonna have to keep my eye on during the next commercial break. But I'll be rooting for NC State and NC State. So appreciate everybody getting in and voting as well. Also, shout out to some other folks who jumped in. Keith from Things Up Podcast, who jumped in. Things Up Podcast will be Keith will be on tonight, I believe. He normally does his show on Sunday nights as well as Thursday nights. Appreciate you, Keith, acknowledging the fresh fade. Edwin Moore jumping in. Good to see you, Edwin. EA jumping in as well. Appreciate all of you for jumping in and everybody who's voting. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you for voting.
And for those who did vote, remember you can vote once per day. So save that link. Contest ends, I believe, on the 4th, which is Thursday, I believe. So I need you to do that once per day between now and Thursday, if you would, please. I would greatly appreciate it.
Now you're asking a lot, Pete. Now you're asking a lot, Drew. You're asking me to do this every day for the next 4 days. Come on, Drew. You're going to have to send out a personal tweet every day for the next 3-4 days just to make sure.
Yeah. All I'm going to do is retweet her tweet. How about that?
Well, that's what you should do. That's what you should do. That way you put it on people's mind. Okay.
Exactly.
So the obviously, here we are on the last day of March, and our
we got to give out belts. Hold on, we got to give out belts before we go any further, Brian. Before we even get into HBCU, we got to give it Easter.
Let me set it up because I know what you want to do early. But I'm gonna let you go ahead. Go ahead because you want to. No. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, this is one of them days you done got in trouble at school, and you waiting on Daddy coming home, and Daddy gonna have to handle his business when he get in the house, Brian. Show the picture, Brian. Just show the picture.
Yeah, let people know what they're looking at here.
I'm gonna get it once we get the picture up.
The picture's
get
up.
To it.
Picture's there.
All right, the picture is up.
Now,
Now,
what is that? What is that a picture of? First off,
that is a picture of the basketball floor in Portland, Oregon, which is the site of the women's NCAA Sweet 16 and Elite 8 for not one, but two regionals, Brian. Two regionals.
two regionals. That's
So,
different. That's different.
yes, I don't know. This first year I've seen them do that. So they've got two regionals in Albany, two regionals in Portland. So you've
So
played games there
instead of doing like what the men do and what they have
in
traditionally
four
done with
sites.
4 sites, they have 2
Yes,
sites.
they took two. Correct.
Okay.
So which means you've played the round of 16 on Friday for one regional, the round of 16 on Saturday for another regional.
Right.
That's 2 games per day.
And that Baylor
4 games.
USC game was Saturday night.
Right. And pregame today, someone noticed. Just no, your picture is not off if you look at the 3-point line. Look at the difference of the distance between the top of the key and the 3-point arc.
Mm-hmm. Left side versus the
If
right
you notice, yes, if you notice, the one on the right is a little bit further than the one on the left. That is not because of the angle of the picture. The lines are actually off.
Mm-hmm.
They
Very
are
noticeable,
2
too.
different distances.
Mhm.
Now, I believe we said the one on the right is the regulation length, Brian.
I believe that is
Of
the what is it?
that
22
looks
feet is what it's supposed to
22
be.
feet, 22 feet, 1 3/4 inches,
Yeah. Right.
which is the international line because they use a metric number international. That's why you get those funny numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So the one on the right is somewhere between there, looks a little bit closer to the old 3-point line, which was 20 feet 9 inches.
You mean the one on the left? The one on the left.
The one on the left. I'm sorry, the one on the left.
Right.
Edwin, I don't know how you not know which one is correct. You pull out the tape measure and you measure from that
Isn't
Edwin.
it from the baseline? Or don't you measure from the baseline, right? You measure from the baseline.
It's from the 22 is from the center of the basket. But there is, if
Okay.
you, Brian, I have lined basketball courts. I have had to put down temporary lines on a basketball court. It is not fun. It is not easy. But you can go to Google and get the diagram.
Oh yeah.
And tell you if you're measuring from the baseline, it needs to be here. But if you're measuring it from the center of the basket, this is the distance that you're supposed to go. They have all of these measurements on Google. The NCAA has a manual. It's about that thick that has all these different court markings that you are required to have.
Mm-hmm. And they have a
First of all,
manufacturing company that does all these courts, Drew. So it's not like they use several different companies. I don't believe. I think they use probably one. Now they may use 2 companies, but they probably keep everything within one company.
Right. And a lot of times these courts get recycled. This court comes out for the Sweet 16 Final 8. They put it in storage and they move it to the site for next year, and then they change the graphics on the floor, etc., etc. First of all, let me get back. I don't like the sterilization of the floors. You don't know, when you look at a game. When you look at a game, you don't know what city they playing in.
Yeah,
If
but
you just have the only way you know is if you look at center court right there. If you have center court where it says Portland, there's they control all the advertising. They take all the what arena are they playing in Portland? Exactly.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm watching the game. I don't care about where they're playing.
Yeah, but you look at this thing when you look back at these highlights for 5 years from now, you used to be able to look and say, hey, so before even knowing what year it was, that was on that court, that was that year, that was in Louisville that year, or that was in Kentucky, that was in who remembers the one in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or the ones in the old Georgia Dome. You could look out the back, the gold court in the Superdome when Michael Jordan hit the shot.
I remember. Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you what color the court was. I can tell you what color the court was.
But Drew, that's different. The Final Four courts are different than these regionals and these opening round courts. You know that.
Not too much. They're still the sterile courts.
All right. Anyway, move forward. Go ahead.
Anyway, moving forward. But anyway, nobody checked these courts for measurement, and shame on the players because everybody has played at least one game on their court, Brian.
Right.
I'm not necessarily putting it on the coaches because the coaches don't get out there and shoot, but the players, nobody noticed it. And yes, the shooting percentages on the court on the left were slightly higher than the shooting percentages on the court on the right.
Yeah, they should be.
I mean, it's a
half
a step.
On the left is the old. The one on the left is the old, or maybe a year or two ago. That used to be the women's line, the
20'9".
Yeah,
20'9".
Right.
So
here's let me jump in and add something. Here's what's really interesting, right? On that very court, North Carolina State, who was a 3 seed, played Texas, a 1 seed, in a regional finals, right? And I guess, like you're saying, they discovered it before that game. Well, both coaches agreed to just go ahead and play forward because they said, well, since you changed sides, how much of an effect would it have? Because everybody's going to get to shoot.
It's a major effect.
I will tell you why. I know so, but I get you. So, but the question is, who shot on what side first? Now, and I say that because North Carolina State ended up beating Texas by 10. And I believe at the half, North Carolina State was up by 12. North Carolina State was up, 7 plus 5. Yeah, they were up by 12 points at the half. And I believe another interesting stat was the 3-point shooting. North Carolina State was 9 of 18 from behind the arc in the game. Texas was 1 of 6. So the question is, what side of the floor did North Carolina State shoot from in the first half? If they shot from the side on the right, then Texas, you made a mistake. Texas coach, you made a mistake by choosing to not have them redo the lines, which they could have temporarily put out some lines. It would have caused a serious delay. But
it would have been a couple of hour delay.
Yeah, but still, in terms of what's fair and equitable, I would have called for that, especially the number 1 seed. Now, you like to go in and think that's not going to matter, but who knows? I'm trying to pull up the stats and see how much of a difference it did make it looks like, based on the graphic, doesn't the home team usually sit to the left of the facing the score table? You're an official, right?
Well, it depends on the court, but if you just look at it, look at where the players are going to the bench. So the bench on the right,
the home team is to the left.
The home team is to the left, and the visitors are to the right, because you see the dark jerseys going to the right of the score.
So that would have been Texas. Texas would have been on the left bench in the first half, shooting to the right. North Carolina State would have been on the right bench, shooting to the left, the shorter side in the first half. Yeah. Who was up by 12 in the first half?
That would have been a visitor.
State. Yes. amazing that would happen. Amazing.
Yes. So
Big time blunder by the NCAA and
and tomorrow, let's be real, they can't. That's a stained court with with the shades, one shade inside the arc, one shade outside the arc. They can't redo that in 24 hours, Brian.
Is that the same court where Iowa and LSU are playing tomorrow? Or are they playing in Albany? They're playing in Albany.
Playing in Albany. The USC is playing here. Who is USC?
USC is playing. Who are they playing in the final? Connecticut. USC in Connecticut.
Yes.
On that floor. So no, they'll have a white line. They'll have a white line.
They'll have two lines. There'll be a double line on one side.
Yeah, which hell, of course I would definitely do that. I would definitely do that. So
yeah.
All right. Well,
but
the NCAA
anyway, Brian, I need to go full screen. We got to get the NCAA the belt. One for every game played on that court.
Well, it's about 8 lashes. How many games did they play? 1, 2, 3. They played about 4 games. That was 5. Yeah, 5 games on that court.
5 games. Yeah.
5 lashes. Drew, hilarious. Yeah. All right, let's
give them the belt.
Let's take our first break of the show, and let's recap some of the past week. A great month and a great week of HBCU basketball. I think it's a great month overall. So we'll talk about it and some interesting scenarios and some interesting perspectives about how you evaluate this season. What is the value of winning in non-NCAA tournaments versus making the trip to the NCAA that some teams did?
And before we go, just because Steve asked for one time for Kofi.
All right, with that, let's take a first break of the day. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN SportsWrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN SportsWrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Hey, Edwin, I didn't want y'all to call the Child Protective Services on me, so I sterilized it because we were on video.
Welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. That's AD Drew. I'm Bryan Fulford. AD, the Punisher, the disciplinarian of the show, laying out licks for foolishness as the
Straight to the
NCAA.
NCAA.
Yeah, straight to the NCAA. Jesus. Okay, so hey, real quick update for everybody watching. North Carolina State up 40-38 going into the under 12 timeout. Love it. Let's go Wolfpack.
One bucket.
One bucket. Hey, I'll take it because it's one bucket in NC State. You know, Duke doesn't want to be in a close game with these fellas. Duke doesn't want to be in a close game. Okay,
they beat up in the ACC tournament, so you are right.
They did exactly. You know
I think it was the quarters.
Yeah, it was. It was Duke's. I think it was Duke's first game out. Matter of fact. So yeah, first game in, and NC State had already played 2, so they were the hot team going in. You know, into that matchup. So we had a great week. Look, going into postseason basketball, and after all the conference tournaments and things like that, we're gonna rewind almost to about half a month ago, like March 15th was sort of that big day where you had the start of the Division II playoffs, the NAIA playoffs, and then the conference semifinals in MEAC, SWAC, and a few other leagues. But we had really, I guess now we could say 2 weeks now. 2 weeks ago, there were 12 HBCU programs that were playing basketball. You know, we were tracking this on our own, right? And well, I'm just looking real quick here back at our notes. From Tuesday, March 19th, we had an amazing run of HBCU games. You know, we had schools that were, you know, on the Division II level that, you know, Fayetteville State making it to the regional finals. We had the start of the first 4. We had Grambling winning their very first NCAA tournament game. You had Alabama A&M getting a win in the CIT. You had Grambling women and North Carolina A&T's women getting their first wins in the WNIT. You had Langston advancing in the national tournament, all the way into last weekend when we did last weekend's show, Drew. And I mean, just an outstanding week of basketball. But obviously, the big stories in this course of this week, the past week, it all started really with, let's see if I'm just kind of looking at the calendar here. It really started with the Sunday matchup. Actually, the day before that was Sunday. North Carolina A&T's women in the court. I guess it would be the 32 of the women's NIT against Old Dominion, and they ended up they were hosting their second consecutive game in the Corbett Center against Old Dominion, and he ended up winning 48-45 on pretty much a last, I would say, a 3-point shot with about maybe 0.6 remaining. Just one of those epic shots, and I wish I would have pulled up. I wish I would have captured the picture that I saw on Aggies on Lady Aggies website, because I think it just showed. It's one of those moments, one of those still frames where you can see the ball just coming off the young lady's hands, and you can see, if you just look at everybody behind her, because she shot it right in front of her own bench, and you could see, you could just, one of those pictures, Drew, that you could go and look at and see different faces and everybody's reaction, from the players to the coaches to the fans. It's one of those pitchers that should go up in the, in the halls of the North Carolina A&T sports complex. It's that cool of a shot. The defining, I don't know, you can call it the defining moment. I obviously they got a big win against their crosstown rival the game before, but just everything that went into that run for North Carolina A&T. So that's how it started. Go ahead.
Can I stop you right there? Shout out to the WNIT for having the you can't say the balls with WNIT, but having the whatever you want to call them, the breast, for lack of a better word,
Jesus.
to give A&T the home game. Not only one home game, but multiple home games in the tournament. Because you know as well as I do that the HBCUs tend not to get these home games in the tournament.
I'm curious as to why.
I don't know. I don't know what the revenue.
I know Dave is in the chat room. Dave, I'd love to know if you know any of the background about why A&T hosted those games. I mean, because again, I'm curious. Oh, okay. So he said A&T had to pay to host those games. Okay.
Right.
All right.
But with them paying, do they get the revenue from everything once they pay? Because I mean, they had some excellent attendance. I believe over 3,000 for each of those games that they hosted.
I read
that. That's great. Shout out to those Aggie fans for showing up and showing out and packing Club Corbett. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. I don't know if the students had to pay or they went with their regular policy where students would get in for free. But even if the students had to pay, for them finding the money for them to pay, or if the university paid for the students, which happens a lot of times for stuff like that, the university will write a check for the to cover the X amount of students. So
yeah, after that game, the Aggies advanced to the round of 16, where you mentioned that third game they hosted. They played Troy. They played Troy University, who they were a little overmatched in that game, which was kind of interesting because they gave up 89 points. They scored 75. And the 2 games prior, I mean, those were like slugfest. I mean, those games, I think they may have, well, it's on the sheet. One of those games was a 48-45, and the other game was a low-scoring game as well. But the attendance, I think one of the games were, was televised free. So you got a chance to watch that. I don't know if the third game was free or not, but I'm gonna read a quote here from their coach, Terrell Robinson.
We got to hear that. And we also got to hear the regular A&T people with Donald Ware and everybody else on the call.
Right. Coach Robinson said in regards to the run, he said it creates a buy-in. Robinson said about the Aggies' run to the WNIT Super 16 with wins over UNC Greensboro and Old Dominion. Quote, it creates a fan base because it shows Lady Aggie basketball has a good show to put on. For those who are returning players, I hope the commitment in the summer, the commitment in the preseason, and the commitment once we start playing, and the commitment during conference pushes us where we need to go. And, hey, look, the Lady Aggies were, for the better part of the year, the number 2 team in the CAA. I think they end up falling to 4th when the tournament started because of some tiebreakers. But, what an outstanding season. It's really the second year in a row that the Lady Aggies have had a great conference season. And, the CAA is a 1-bid league. So the team who was really the most dominant team in that league, Stony Brook. I think they ended up losing in the conference tournament, so they didn't even go to the NCAA. So it just overall was a good position for North Carolina A&T basketball. You know, who I've been real high on as a program, even back to the last year when they were in the MEAC. And, you know, then I think after that last year that they won the MEAC, I think is when they transitioned over to the CAA. But they've had, you know, this has been a strong program. Well, what's your thoughts, Drew, as you and let's juxtapose that, because before I ask this, the other school, Grambling, who was also in the WNIT, they got a big win in their first round game on the road. Then they had to go to Northern Louisiana and play UL Monroe, and that game was brutal. I mean, UL Monroe, I think beat them 102 to 70 something, but I mean, it was just a clobbering. But they didn't get the chance to play at home. They went on the road twice. But just what's your thoughts on what it means for North Carolina A&T and Grambling, and juxtapose that to Norfolk State and Jackson State, who, yes, they won their tournament. They had a great conference run, but they ran up against, obviously, you run up against 15 and 16 seeds, or I'm sorry, 15. You run up as a 15 seed going on the road at Stanford. Jackson State, a 14 seed on the road going to UConn. Can you make any comparison? I hate to say the word, would you rather be A&T or Grambling versus being Norfolk State and Jackson State? I hate to put it like that, but it's in a less simplistic way. Who would you rather be at the end of the day?
Could you repeat the last part? My earpiece came out.
I said, to put it short, who would you rather be? Would you rather be, you know, A&T and Grambling, or would you rather be Jackson State or Norfolk State? And I'm referring to the postseason run, not necessarily the conference per se.
On the women's side, it's tough, because if you would have asked me that on the men's side, Brian, then my next question to you would be, what seat am I sitting in?
Mm-hmm.
Because on the men's side, obviously, we know where the money is at. The money is at the NCAA level. But as a coach, I realistically have a chance to do some damage in these lower tournaments. So, you know, it's tough. If I'm going into the NCAAs as a 15 or 16 seed, yes, I'm happy that I won my conference championship. Yes, I'm going to prepare to beat the competition. But let's be real. Even at a 14 seed, Jackson State had nothing for UConn.
No.
Nothing. And Norfolk State had nothing. And when you're a coach of a team, you really want to have the feeling that you have a realistic shot. I won't say 50-50, but you have a realistic shot of beating the opponent. Not, it's going to take a miracle. Now, we've all coached games, Ryan, where we knew it was going to take a miracle to beat our opponent. And every now and then, even a broke clock is right twice a day, Brian. And you will get a dub every now and then. But from a program building perspective, it may be better that I was in a WBIT or
WNIT.
WNIT.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as building my program. But it's also assuming, here's the new factor, Brian, that I can keep those kids in my program, because you want the practices, you want the camaraderie. And if I've got a bunch of seniors, what a way to take them out with this postseason run. You don't care what level it's on. You always want to take your seniors out with a good postseason run, man. So there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's just going to depend on my situation. But last thing, knowing in those other two tournaments that I have an opportunity to play in front of my home crowd in the postseason kind of leans me to those tournaments. And that's no disrespect to what Jackson State did or what Norfolk did, because the experience of playing in the NCAA tournament is arguably second to none.
Some great comments here. I'm going to go back for a second and pull up a couple of them here. Because Dave brings up a great point that, this is very similar to that football debate that we always get into about the merits of going to the Celebration Bowl versus the FCS playoffs. And I guess,
do I have a realistic shot of winning?
No.
I
don't think that's the debate. I think the debate is which is the financially better spot to be in, because I think we've moved past where can we compete.
It's two separate debates though, Brian. And how you debate depends on how you debate it depends on what seat you sit in. If you're sitting in an administration seat, you're always going to take the position of what's going to financially benefit my program. And there's no question, if you bring it into the Celebration Bowl, that the Celebration Bowl is going to financially benefit any HBCU.
Right. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Right. When you're some of those other people, coaches, a coach, you go to the Celebration Bowl, you have as close to a 50-50 chance of winning that Celebration Bowl, because you got equal level. First of all, you're conference champion. Most HBCUs have similar budgets, so you're competing. It's like competition, Brian. It's like being a 4A school in your state. Yeah, there's certain 7A schools that you can play with, but when you go up against that powerhouse 7A school in your state, come on now, let's be real. It's going to be garbage time by halftime. And that's what you get into when you get into some of these situations, man.
I think looking at some of the comments, right here, from definitely guys like Lawrence, a great point about not having a chance to be a Black college national champion. I mean,
I'm a dispute that. And well, let's say, here we go. If Jackson State does not have the type of year that they have had,
being undefeated in the SWAC is what you're referring to.
Yeah, if Jackson State was not the unicorn, A&T did have a realistic shot. And on the men's side, it's gonna be interesting.
That's an interesting one. Yeah. It will be, because
you have that debate on the men's side, definitely.
Oh, for sure. Especially between, and I'm assuming you're referring to between Grambling State and Norfolk State.
Yeah. Grambling State, Norfolk State, and where Howard wanted to be at. So it's a three-way debate.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying you're
right. Nobody's talking about Howard, though. Nobody's talking about Howard, though.
Right. But you have to include Howard in the conversation, because not only did Howard win the MEAC, but they took 2 out of 3 from Norfolk this season.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So it's going to be interesting on the men's side who's going to be that national champion. The reason A&T, who was that who said he didn't think A&T had a shot at being national champion? I lost the comment already.
Lawrence.
Right.
Lawrence said.
And I think maybe the reason Lawrence may feel like A&T didn't have a chance is because A&T is not in the HBCU conference anymore. And Lawrence may feel like A&T is forgotten because they're not in the HBCU conference anymore.
Right.
But to us, in at least at this media organization, yeah, we talk trash on A&T. Don't get us wrong. We gonna talk.
I don't talk trash about them. You may. I don't. Who else?
We won't say talk. We had fun with A&T. We definitely had fun with A&T. But trust me, we follow A&T, and we definitely do everything that A&T did this season on the women's side, and we were pulling for A&T to win the CAA. I would think I would cut my comments off right there, Brian, because
let me get one. Let me get one in there. I gotta respond to Edwin here in this whole debate. Edwin brings up, would I rather have a date with the girl you didn't get in high school or a date with Angela Bassett?
How much is that girl in high school making right now? And how many kids do she have?
Look, I don't know Angela Bassett. I I see what I see and what you see on TV, but I know some of the girls, some of the women that I missed out on, and I'm always sad about it. That's all I'm gonna say. And so, for me, I'm a nostalgic kind of person, and that's what I hate about Facebook. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. I hate Facebook.
Go to break before you get in trouble.
Before I get into trouble, I need to go get married. That's I need to get married ASAP. All right. When we come back, we're gonna talk with the head coach of the Langston University Lions, Coach Chris Wright, on the other side. We're gonna talk to him. An amazing season that Langston had on their run to the NAIA National Championship. So we're gonna talk to him about the season, the game, and just moving forward. All right. It's coming up on the other side. If you got any questions, drop them in the chats, and we got some time. We'll ask Coach Wright about it. So hang in there. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap, Bryan and A.D. Before we bring on our next guest, just a reminder, do me a favor, folks, hit the thumbs up button if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit the like button if you're watching us on Facebook. We appreciate everybody in the chat room. We love you, appreciate you. Just a reminder, all of our shows are available in podcast form on the BCSN Pod Zone. Everywhere you listen to podcasts, you can hear not only our show, but all of the shows on the Black College Sports Network throughout the course of the week. All right. Let's go ahead and bring in.
And don't forget to vote for Morgan.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Did you put a short link out there?
Yeah, I'll put the short link out there again.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Did you? Okay. There it is. Okay. So yeah, if and appreciate you going in, and one of Drew's former teammate players is available in that. Blue Jacket, no talking about that. Quiet. We're not talking about that right now, Blue Jacket. Be quiet. All right, let's bring on our next guest. He is the head coach of the Langston Lions. 35-2. Trip to the NAIA National Championship game. Coach Chris Wright, we always love having you on the show. Coach, how you doing, Coach?
Fellas, I'm alive. I guess that's good, right?
Amen. That's it, Coach. That's it. Good to see you. Hope you and your family had a great Easter today or this morning. How's the last few days been for you, Coach? I know Drew and I were just talking about it. If you've been in coaching for any period of time, we've been there on both sides of it. What's the last few days been like for you?
It's been tough. Obviously, right, to get a chance to go back to the national championship game and to be up 13 halfway through the second half, and then to be up 6 with less than a minute to go. And it's crazy, since I've been a head coach again in the last 7 years, we haven't blew either one of those leads. So, hey, tough Sunday. Obviously, man, God's amazing. It's great to be able to celebrate Easter, but yeah, it's going to take a little bit to get over this one.
What were some of the messaging, or I know I've been there, especially, that last game, a championship game, been there, unfortunately, the last 2 years with my high school program. What kind of things do you go through and say to your players, many guys who have played for you for possibly the last time, or it might be their last collegiate game?
I don't think there's probably any words that kind of do it justice, right? Man, I'm extremely proud of our guys. We understand, man, to be an HBCU and win a national championship, you got to be significantly better than everyone else. And, man, I'm proud of our guys. I'm proud of what they were able to do this year, for sure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Drew.
All right. Coach, I wanted to hit you that night, but I knew better as a former coach that was not the night to hit you up on Tuesday night, because let's be real, of all the cussing and fussing that we do when we coach it, especially in the heat of the moment. And so I hit you up the next day, and we had conversation. I'll keep that to myself, but just talk about in the moment of the game. What's going through your mind during that run that they put on you? Because there were a couple of times you couldn't get the ball in bounds. Looks like the consistency of the officiating had been consistent until like the last 2-3 minutes of the ball game, when you guys were up, and pretty much can't I say it? The fat lady had the tea ready. She was gargling the tea, but she never got to sing. So what's going through your mind in the heat of the moment as you're trying to make these adjustments and trying to get over? Because one bucket during that time, and you break the momentum, and you're holding up the trophy. So talk to me.
Yeah,
Coach.
Yeah, one bucket or one stop. And that's That's the beauty of basketball this time of the year, but it's also kind of the brutality of it, right? I told a lot of people I was watching, special with Coach K and Roy Williams before we left for Kansas City, and they asked Coach K what was the difference between, his great teams and his championship teams, and he said one play, and I think that was true that night. We're up 13 with, halfway through the second half, could have closed it out. We didn't. I thought in the first half we were up 9 at halftime, and I didn't think we played very well. Kind of gave up some easy buckets that we haven't gave up all year. And so, we put ourselves in a bad situation. I think anytime you put yourself in the spot where other factors can come into play, like, it's not good for you. And so, again, I'm proud of our guys. Wish we could have finished it off, though.
Yeah. And if I have the number correct, I want to say you're 67-5 over the 2 years that you've been there at Langston. I may have the wins.
Sounds about right.
Short 1 or 2, but I know the 5 is correct. So 2 special seasons there at Langston. What makes, especially as your group that you had last year and the turnaround that you had last year, what makes this group that you had this year special?
It's nice. We had, I guess 4 guys that were in our rotation last year back. And so it's always great when you get some returners back. But I think these guys love each other. They play for each other. They, extremely unselfish, very committed to everything that we ask them to do. And so, and obviously we were extremely talented, but more than that, we just kind of had that combination of being really talented and having great chemistry.
Go ahead, Bryan.
Coach, in watching the 2 games, obviously the two Final Four games, the national semifinal and the championship game, there was a great crowd from Langston, or the Langston crowd was outstanding. It's hard to I don't know how it compared to the opponents, but it sounded like Langston fans. I think I heard you comment in one of the in-game interviews that all of everyone from Langston had driven 4 hours over to Kansas City for that game. Take a minute, if you would, and talk about just the support and the crowd that was there. I know the band was there. It was a lot of pride on display in the championship game.
Yeah.
Bryan, before you get in that, Coach, I will say this, Bryan, because I'm from that area. There is a nice Langston following in Kansas City. There's a number of Langston alums in Kansas City and also in St. Louis, where I'm originally from. So I do know that I'm assuming some of those people may have driven over to Kansas City from St. Louis, and of course the local people from Kansas City joined Langston. I didn't mean to cut you off, Coach. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, hey, that's very true. We have a great alumni chapter in Kansas City. It's part of what makes Langston special, right? I guess 3 seasons ago, we played in the national championship at Talladega, and honestly, we had nobody there, right? We had our athletic director and former president, and to be honest, felt like no one really cared. And then you come to Langston, and right, your whole administration is there. You have so many alumni, former players, just friends of the program, and it was night and day difference. And so that was really special to be able to play for a national championship in front of that environment and that much support.
Yeah. I found it interesting, the NAIA, that you had 4 number 1 seeds making it to that point. And I'll put up the basketball that I saw in the 3 games among the 4-1 seed is just as good as anything that I have seen on CBS, TNT, True, any of those other networks. Speak to the no, I'm serious. I'm not gonna put
ESPN.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about. But Coach, talk a little bit about the NAIA basketball and the level of basketball Because I think sometimes look, for people who are not familiar, I've had to do so much educating of high school kids who they're like, Coach, what game are you watching? Oh, and I'm telling them about Langston. I'm telling them about NAIA. They're like, what's the NAIA? I'm like, well, look, let me tell you about this program in Oklahoma, or let me tell you about the NAIA. And it's an educational thing for a lot of kids. And they're like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
what's that like? Or just talk about what the level of play and the competition and how special and good it is at the NAIA level.
So I think regardless of what level you're at, right, there's a lot of different levels to it, right? Obviously, as you look in Division I, there's the Power Five, there's really good mid majors, and then there's there's kind of everyone else. I think the NAI is kind of the same. I mean, if you look at the top 10 or 12 of the NAI, it's really, really good basketball. And like as we're recruiting, we always tell guys like, hey, if we're trying to win a national championship, we got to go out and be able to beat about 30% of Division I's on any given night. And so, man, it's really good basketball. The Final Four was special, as you guys alluded to. I know our Final Four game was against College of Idaho, which they might have been the best team in the whole tournament. The defending national champions with everyone back except one player. And so it's really, really good basketball. And I think that's kind of a misconception out there. People hear NAI and think they're going to walk into a gym with a bunch of bums, and it's like, no, that's not the case. So I thought it was, great coaches and really, really good players the last few days in Kansas City.
Yeah, definitely. We'll agree 100% on that. Go ahead, Drew.
Speaking of the College of Idaho, I want to take you back to that semifinal game, Coach. And College of Idaho plays a 3-2 matchup. They switched to a 1-3-1 matchup at certain point in times in the game. But I'm gonna be honest, and Bryan and I were. I don't know if we was on the phone or if we was chatting, but
we were debating. We were watching it. We were breaking the game down, man.
We were watching the game.
If we had done a live,
we were watching
a live show, boy. It would have been great.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Bryan and I do this all the time. We'll pick a game and we'll be going back and forth with each other. But that matchup zone was something that Jim Boeheim would have been proud of from Syracuse, and it looked like it gave you all fits for a long time until you were able to figure it out by bringing the post up and making them defend the post and then playing off of the post. But anyway, just talk about that defense and how tough it is in one day to prepare for such a, for lack of a better word, gimmicky defense as a 3-2 matchup zone, because most teams don't even play a standard zone anymore. But not only to go up against a zone, but then a matchup zone in less than a day to prepare for it.
Well, so Kobe Blaine, again, obviously defending national champions. He's a lot better coach than I am. I mean, that was about as frustrated offensively as I think I've ever been in my career. We knew we were going to have to make shots against it. They do such a good job of, like you said, not only matching with things, but just making adjustments. However you attack it throughout the game, they're going to adjust to it and give you a different look. And so, typically this year we've absolutely shredded zones, we had no answers for it the first 32 minutes of the game. I thought we got some good looks early that just didn't go in, but yeah, it's tough to play against, especially on, a one-day turnaround, and they're so good in it. It's kind of like our pressure, right? It's really, really hard to simulate by opposing teams. And so, we were really fortunate to win that game. I thought it was kind of a 50-50 game, and luckily we were able to make enough plays to get it done that night.
Yeah, that was a game that also came down the stretch, but on that day, you guys were able to hold on.
Right.
Yes.
Drew, the defense in that game, because that was the game where you guys held them to their lowest output, I believe, of the season, if I recall what the commentator was saying.
20-some odd points.
Yeah. But I kept trying to tell people in the chat, I'm like, oh, but holding teams to under 60 is what Langston does. It's funny educating. Here I am. I'm a Chris Wright fan. So I'm educating people in the chat room about Langston basketball. And they're like, oh, Langston holds people under 60. This is normal for them. So yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But they used to score well above 60 though.
for sure. I feel like, and obviously, we kind of hang our hat on who we are defensively. I mean, I think going into the tournament, we were giving up about 57 points a game. But, we scored over 80. And so, like, sometimes I think kind of our defense overshadows what we do offensively, right? Like, we have really good players. We don't turn the basketball over. We're very efficient. But yeah, I mean, and I just think at the end of the day, come tournament time, if you can really, really defend, it doesn't matter who you play or where you play at. You're going to give yourself a chance to cut down the nets.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And I want to talk about a couple of your players here, Coach. To me, Anthony Roy is the heartbeat of your team. When he plays good, your team plays good. When he doesn't play good, you guys still play good, but you play much better when he's playing good. Cortez Mosley and Toru Dean, those three guys seem to have been the lifeblood of your team this season. Just kind of talk about those guys, whether those guys have any eligibility remaining, and anybody else who I left off that list.
Yeah, so I mean, you mentioned Anthony Roy. He was a player of the year in our league. He's a big time scorer. And I was proud of him throughout the year, how he kind of, he grew up a lot. I think really started to understand that he can do things besides scoring to really impact, the game. And so, Ansa Jr., kind of our deal with him, he came from New Mexico State where he was like 11, 12 a game. And, we told him if he came here and took care of business and did what he needed to do, we would help him go back Division I. So, I'm sure, we'll see him playing on TV somewhere next year. Obviously, we're going to keep our word with what we told him. But yeah, this is, taking 20 points a game out of your lineup is a big loss, right? And then you look at guys like Toru Dean and Cortez Mosley that came with us to Langston our first year. Just both guys that were, extremely tough and unselfish. Toru was I think, third-team All-American this year. Cortez probably should have been one. He was the defensive player of the year, back-to-back years for us in the Sooner Athletic Conference. And so, yeah, that's three guys that we're going to have to replace and figure out how to move forward without. But I love all three of those guys. I'm really proud of them. I think, again, they've done everything that we've asked and more. And so I look forward to seeing, the big things that God has for all three of those guys in their future.
Coach, I've got one from someone in our chat room. This comes from Edwin Moore, and he says, "Does Coach find kids that fit that discipline, or is it basically coaching to them once they join the team?"
I think a little of both, right? I mean, one, we want to get talented guys, but man, I think we do want guys that have gotten over themselves, that want to grow. But so, obviously at the NAI level, we're going to get guys that, they got to grow in some area if they're good enough to help us win a national championship. And so I think just getting dudes that understand that want to get better, that are hungry to learn, I think is important. But yeah, when you get here, there's no choices on how unselfish you're going to be or how hard you're going to play. Right. That stuff kind of gets beat into them. And so yeah, I think it's a mixture of a little bit of both.
Coach, I want to talk about just give you a second to kind of speak on how the process begins now. Obviously, with recruiting and the transfer portal being open, building the next national championship caliber program started Wednesday. That's just the nature of the business. What is the time frame for you? How do you and your staff kind of manage the future, and what's the recruiting schedule like for you?
Yeah, so obviously, we've been talking about that a lot throughout the course of the season, just knowing that we lose a lot of guys. And so, we were able to bring in, a guy that played for us at Talladega, Cam Bryce, that started about half the game for us when we lost in the national title game. So he was here sitting out in the spring. We've been able to sign 2 other kind of Division I transfers, guys that have produced at a higher level. And so, we still need about 7 or 8 guys. And, we hope to kind of, get some of those guys early, but also at the NAI level, we realized that, we're going to have to sit back and be patient a little bit, right? Like a lot of the guys that can really help us right now, they don't understand that they're not going to be at the Power 5 level or at the mid-major level. And so, we're excited about it. I think with the success that we've had, we feel confident that, we're going to be able to get back to Kansas City and make another run. But it is a lot of guys to replace. And, again, being so close to a national title and kind of letting it slip away, it does feel like a daunting task. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And in terms of scheduling, do you look to try to do anything in terms of scheduling different NAIA opponents from different regions? I don't know if that's advantageous for you to do so, because I know sometimes what you do in your region helps. Do you maybe look at scheduling Division II programs in the NCAA Division II level? Talk a little bit about the scheduling of the future, if you would.
Brian, if you could get us to any Division 1s or 2s to schedule us, man, we'd appreciate it. But I don't think anybody really wants to do that, just being real honest with you. We've had a couple of Division 1s on the hook that have canceled on us once they've seen our recruiting classes. And so, obviously we want to play as good of a schedule as we can. In the non-conference this year, we played LSU Shreveport. That, it was the last game before Christmas, and it was number 2 versus number 4 in the country. And so we want to play big time NAI games. Unfortunately, when you've had a lot of success, there's not too many people out there that, that will meet you at a neutral site, or play anywhere. And so, I think as many good opponents as we can get, though, I think is great for us.
All right. Well, we'll keep working on the back ends, Coach. I mean, I'm all for trying to bring the best programs together. Whether no matter if it's men or women's. I mean, we gotta bring our teams together. I would love to have a day where we have Langston and I ain't gonna put any other schools out there, but you know who you are. Some of you NCAA D2, D1 programs. Stop ducking Langston. I'm gonna just say it. I said it.
Hey, you know what? Hey, honestly, I can't blame some guys. If I was a low major, you have nothing to gain by playing a really good NAI, right? Like you're supposed to win the game, and if you don't, right, it's really bad for you and your career. So I definitely get it for sure.
Right. Gotcha. All right, Coach. We were having this debate on the show earlier, and I just want to get your opinion as a coach. Is it how can I say this? You've played national tournaments, but there are also other tournaments out there, especially if we could ever get a HBCU basketball tournament. As a coach, which would you rather be in? Going after that national championship every year, but let's be real. I mean, you've been on a run for the last 3-4 years, but for all us normal coaches, you only get a team like that about once every 4 or 5 years, where you have a team that can make a legitimate title run. In a normal season, would you rather be in that tournament and know you're pretty much a sacrificial lamb and going to be going home in the first, second round of a national tournament, or be in a smaller tournament, even an HBCU tournament, where you go in with a legitimate chance of bringing home some type of hardware?
Obviously, I think, just with a lot of the challenge that HBCUs face and kind of the uphill battles, right, that we have, I think it's always cool anytime you can be in a tournament with other HBCUs. But, for us, our goal is simple, man. We want to win a national championship or have a chance to win one every single year. And if we're not in the mix, then, with the support that we have here, I don't feel like, I'm doing my job, right? And we've been very blessed, our last season at Talladega and our 2 years at Langston, I think we're, 98-11 with 2 national championship appearances. And so that's always the goal. And I think if we ever got to a point where I felt like we were a sacrificial lamb, I'd get out of coaching, right? Like that would be no fun for me. And so I need to go find something else to do, because I'm probably going to end up divorced and my family's not going to like me very much. And I'm just not a good loser. And so I think, again, it's but again, if we could get in an HBCU tournament in the middle of the year and go play other really good HBCUs, I think that's something that's very intriguing, that does bring a lot of value.
And there's a follow-up from Dr. Cavill. Dr. Cavill is inside the HB Sports Lab. What is your thoughts on a non-conference NAIA tournament? So there's kind of a follow-up to the question that I asked.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, we went to an HBCU tournament in Austin, Texas. Really well done. All HBCU teams. That was really nice. It was a great tournament put on. And so this year we're going to the Abe Lemons Classic in Oklahoma City. So it's an all NAIA tournament with some of the best teams from around the country. And so again, I think anytime you can go on a neutral court and play good competition, I think it's something that benefits your program a lot.
Yeah. Now there's a question in the chat room that's been out there, but I'm not going to ask you to answer it. But a lot of people want to. Let's be real, Coach. You got to know you're one of the hottest names out there for all these HBCU vacancies, not just HBCU vacancies, just coaching vacancies in general. So people are wondering. We're not going to ask you to comment on it or do anything else like that, because that would be disrespectful and unfair to your current institution. But yes, folks, I put it out there, but we're not going to make them answer it. Okay, just want to let y'all know that we know he knows. Everybody knows. Yes, would I love to see him in a different color? Possibly, but he looks good in orange and blue right now. We're gonna keep that man in orange.
AD, it's man, and hey, I do want to say this. I love Langston. I love our administration. I love our university. I love like what we're about here, and it's been home to my wife and I, and so we definitely plan on being here. And also, having said that, you never know what God has in store for us, right? Like thank goodness he knows a lot better than I do, right? And I will say this: I think wherever we were at, any division, any level, we would find a way to win basketball games and love our guys and help our guys graduate. Wherever that was. But again, we've been extremely thankful for our time here, and we look forward for having the chance to run this back and hopefully bring home the hardware back to Oklahoma next year.
Well said, Coach. Hey, Coach, I always appreciate talking with you. One of my favorite people to talk to in March and every other month of the year, whenever we get a chance. I know it seems like we only usually get February or March, but Coach, you are a pleasure. Langston University, you guys have a great one here in Coach Wright. And I love the fact that they gave you an extension and all that stuff. So they've made the commitment, and we'll just leave it at that. They got a good one. So other folks gonna have to do a whole lot to get Coach Wright, but Coach Wright's in a good spot. So Coach, thank you. Congratulations on a great season. Like I said, we all know you coach long enough, you're gonna be on both sides of that. And so we felt the pain. Trust me. I was hurting for you and praying for you for a couple days after, man, definitely. But we're proud of the run, and really enjoyed watching Langston all season, really, and tracking you guys. So any last words you wanna shout out or say, Coach, here? I want to give you the last word.
Yeah, hey, fellas, I really appreciate you guys, all the great publicity you bring to HBCUs across the country. And again, for us, we realized, going into the national tournament, we were playing for something far bigger than ourselves. And so, obviously we were disappointed that we couldn't be the first HBCU since 1977 to win a national title. But, we believe we're going to have more chances at that. And it's something that I know I put a lot of, a lot of stock in and a lot of pride in, as well as our team does, being able to represent, right, the 100 plus HBCUs across the country. So, hey, I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. Happy Easter.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. Happy Easter to you and your family. And L's up.
Appreciate you returning my text and everything, Coach. How they do it? LU.
That's it. That's it.
All right, Coach. Be well. Take care, Coach.
Hey, appreciate you, fellas. Have a good one.
All
right, Coach.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Chris Wright. Let's take a break. Come back. I know we got some interesting comments and thoughts, so we'll get to those on the other side after the break. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back right after this very short commercial break.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Amber May, and I'm a voice actor out here in Los Angeles. I'm the voice of Dia in Genshin Impact, Yen Ching in Honkai Star Rail, the narrator in Comey Can't Communicate, and I also voice Brooklyn Barbie in the movie Barbie Big City Big Dreams. I'm here to let you know that I'm going to be a guest this year at Urban NerdCon in Atlanta. Yeah, woo! That's going to be April 26th through the 28th at the... where are we going again? It's going to be at the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. So, if you're a Genshin Impact fan, a MiHoYo fan, and you live on the East Coast, you got no excuse. Come see me. Urban NerdCon. Our heroes, our villains, our stories. Come on down. Let's do it. Let's get it on.
TheUrbanNerdCon.net to get your buy one, get one free badges before the price increases. Remember, our heroes, our villains, our stories. Everyone's con. See you there.
Go Wolfpack, go!
I guess I was wrong on that one.
Go Wolfpack, go! Hell yeah! Boy, I called that one. Oh, go Wolfpack. I called that, boy. I called it. Wolfpack going to the Final Four. The magical run, man, continues. What's that?
Yes,
5,
sir.
4, 9 in a row. Do you know, Drew, they had lost 4 in a row going into the ACC tournament. Lost 4 games in a row, probably 5 of the last 6, if I recall. And now look at them. Look at them. 9 in a row. Go Wolfpack.
What about you? We talk about basketball schools last couple of weeks.
Hey,
what about UConn and NC State?
And NC State, men and women's program
and women in the Final Four.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm gonna throw another one out there.
Who?
You know, I wasn't expecting a spring football game earlier this weekend when Alabama played Clemson in a basketball game that meant something this late in the season. You know, I thought I was watching football again.
Yeah. I look, the shot chart I showed you, I think it was Gottlieb had tweeted out the shot chart from the Alabama game against Clemson. And they had all outside the arc and then like several baskets around inside of the circle, inside the half circle, like all like rim touches.
No, look, it was either arc or paint.
There was no mid-range. Not short corner, elbow.
I think there may have been like 2 mid-range shots.
I didn't see them. But that thing was it was crazy looking at the shot chart for Alabama. But yeah. So the Final Four is set. For the men, it'll be Alabama versus UConn, who's been beating everybody by like 15 plus. And then you've got North Carolina State versus Purdue, which obviously, look, come on. We got to have Purdue versus UConn. We got to have Big 7-5 Edie versus the what's the guy? The Klingon is his name? Whatever, the UConn Klingon. I don't even know the kid's name, but I just call him the UConn Klingon. Let's go. Let's get it on. UConn versus Purdue for the national championship. Let's go.
So let's look at this. The Big East, for as much trash they was talking about the number of teams they didn't get in to the tournament, they still get a Final Four team.
One of three.
The SEC had all them teams in
8.
They got in. All of them lost except for 3 in the first day.
Yep.
3 of them were alive this weekend. 2 of them played each other.
That's crazy, right? All of the 3 who made it past the first round all made it to the Elite 8. Yeah.
Yes, and 2 of them played each other, so you knew you was gonna lose one, but the other two are still there. And then you've got the Big Ten, Purdue.
The Big Ten.
What it's been like
they dominated the Big Ten. The rest of the
30
Big
years since Purdue has been there.
44 years, 1980. And I remember that Final Four was in my hometown of Indianapolis, Indiana. I remember that. 1980.
Yes. So
and then NC State, an 11 seed, beat the. Let me see who they beat on the road. They beat the 2 seed. They beat the 1 seed. I mean, they beat everybody who they had to beat. Amazing run that they've been on, man.
Now I'm going off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but the last 2 times NC State has made it this far, they won. They won. 1974 with David Thompson. And then 1983 with Jim Valvano.
Yeah, you might be right.
And I'm just going off the top of my head. I haven't looked this up.
I was thinking because I remember, who I was thinking Houston, but no, Houston lost twice in the championship game.
Yeah, Houston lost one of those 2 times to
NC State. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I want to say David Thompson because they broke up the UCLA run.
They did. Yep, they did. Yep.
Yes.
And that was a game that both of those instances, NC State wasn't supposed to win because, matter of fact, the infamous Final Four game between Marquette and NC State, where Al McGuire got ejected in the late into the second half of that game, while his team was leading, ended up because of the technicals and the eventual ejection, the points and the momentum swung to NC State's side, who ended up winning that game, and then they went on to the championship game against UCLA. But McGuire's team was widely considered to be a better team back in 70. What did you say, 74 or 72?
I think it was 74.
I think it was 74. You're right.
It was 73 or 74.
And then, of course, NC State won on the
Whitberg shot.
The
Whitberg miss and the dunk by Lorenzo.
The air ball and the dunk. Yeah, the follow through. Yeah. All right. So so obviously, getting back to Coach Wright, obviously, it's out there. Look, me, I'm a rattler. We have an open head coaching job at FAMU, and we've talked about it on Wednesday's show. Langston did sign Coach Wright to a contract extension through 2027, I believe. I don't know what type of buyout, if there's a buyout in his contract at Langston. I know if his name is not on the short list by whether it be the AD or the search committee, then it's criminal. It's criminal that his name would not be in consideration. Now, whether he goes through the interview process or all the extra stuff.
That's up to him on that portion.
That's up to him.
His name,
but
his name
Florida A&M, yeah. And one other school that is up for that should be talked about, Alabama A&M, because according to our good friend Mo Carter, their coach really is there. There's he had a 2-year with an extension contract initially, and so it's not confirmed whether he'll be back for
the extension has been picked up.
Oh, it has. Okay, so that
no, it's not confirmed. It's not confirmed, but the extension has been picked up.
Oh, you're saying it has not been confirmed. Okay, so Alabama A&M may be in play, although, it's tough to say. Alabama A&M has been competitive in the SWAC the last 2 seasons under their coach. So, the question is, do you feel like I think Alabama A&M and Florida A&M are 2 programs in 2 different areas. You got one program which has been absolutely horrible the last 2 years in the SWAC, and another program which has been to the SWAC tournament the last 2 years.
Let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room also. Everybody's probably seen the article about Tamika Reed, but, we've got from our sources that it's a non-story. We've seen the story, but from our sources, we say it's a non-story. We think it is a non-story.
I get that it's a non-story, but I'd be struggling to not, if I'm, look, I'm stepping into some heels and shoes that are way bigger than mine. I don't know how you don't feel some kind of way not having an extension, because people make promises all the time, Drew. And this loyalty is a fickle lady. And so, how you tell these coaches about your loyalty through your contracts and what you're paying them. So, I would just say, if you allow a contract to sort of linger, you do open the door for somebody else to come in and really make an offer and really make it hard for the hometown team to keep her. Now, I don't know who that would be. Like, I'm not up and saying I don't know what open jobs there are in Division I women's basketball right now.
Right. And then here's the question. How high of a, we'll just say, mid-major, because it makes no sense for her to go to another. So let's be real, y'all. SWAC is considered lower major, so it makes no sense for her to go to another lower major conference. How high of a mid-major can she go to and be a head coach? Because if she gets anything at the power level, it's probably not going to be as a head coach initially. And I say probably. There's always somebody who may take a flyer. We saw Colorado take the fly. We saw Colorado take the fly with Dion.
That would be criminal, Drew. And here's why. When you've had the 5-year success and just a 3-year success that she's had, miss me on that, because it's an HBCU. We've seen people elevate into Power 5s with less. We have. We've seen it.
But how many of them people look like us and came from our situation?
Again, I hear what you're saying. Miss me with that, though. Don't tell me, if I'm Tamika Reed, don't tell me that I can't coach at the Power 5 level when you see these coaches get jobs, whether you want to say it's because of their look and their complexion and all that stuff. Miss me on that. What she has done over the past 3 to 5 years, okay, is historic and dominant. She's built a program. She's built a dominating team. And it's worthy of being considered, even if it's a lower level Power 5. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are even levels to the Power 5 game, right? But even if it were a lower level Power 5 program, it still should be like, hey, if your program has been bad for the last 3, 4, 5 years, or maybe a decade, why wouldn't you contact Tamika Reed, who's been a winner at her level, and see if she can transform your program the way, and in the fashion that what she's done at Jackson State. So I just say that.
As a HBCU fan, I hope they're not making those phone calls. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, and I'm pretty confident that she's going to remain at Jackson State. And like I said, I believe this is a non-story, but you know, we had to touch on it.
Yeah. I do want to make.
Speaking of, can I speak on a couple? Speaking on the coach, Brian, before we go.
No. Hold on, because we didn't finish talking about. We didn't mention Norfolk State's men. We didn't mention their win. We before we get into talking about those coaching things that we talked about. We just need to take a second, because we did talk about the women, you know, A&T and Grambling and stuff, but we got to give mention to these guys. Norfolk State Spartans, who finished their season with a win in the CIT tournament. You know, Norfolk State. I think, what day was this game? Was this Wednesday? This was the day after the Langston game.
Yes.
So this was the day after the Langston NAIA championship game. After beating Alabama A&M, I think it was Saturday, in what was sort of a national semifinal game. They ended up playing Purdue Fort Wayne in the championship game, actually hosting that game. That game was on Wednesday, and Norfolk State was down as high as 18 points. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Norfolk State hadn't lost at home all season.
Right. They were down 18 in the first half.
They were 18 at the half. Trust me, your boy
I
saw
don't know if it was at the half. It was in the first half. I don't know what it was.
It was at the half. I believe it was at the half, because guess what, your boy? You know what I did in game, right? You know what I had to do, because Drew, hey, it was like plus 300 for Norfolk State to win the game, and I said, "There's no way Norfolk State's at home. This is the best. Norfolk State's unbeaten at home. Heck yeah, I'm playing Norfolk State on the money line." Sure enough, it came home for you, boy. Norfolk State gets the win. What was that final score? Hold on, I had the box score in here pulled up. Norfolk State final score 75-67. They were down 10 at the half, but 18 at one point. They were down 10 at the half, 18 at one point. Managed to get the win, outscoring their opponent 44-26 in the second half. They got 17 points from Christian Inns. Alan Bertrand added 16 points. Jaylani Darden added 11. Jamari Thomas added 10. The Spartans finished the season with 24-11. Yes, I agree with you, Chuck Hunt. Norfolk State is a basketball school. Yes, they are. They would be number one on my list. If I had a top 5 basketball schools, Norfolk State would be number one. And this past year, I think Norfolk State, when I went and looked at the records, Norfolk State played 34 games this year, they played 35 games, which is the second most in program history as a Division I program. Of course, don't forget, Norfolk State spent some time as a Division II school and very successful.
Bulk of their time as a Division II school.
Yes. So 35 games. Yeah, 35 games is the second most in program history, and the 24 wins that they got this year are the second most as a Division I program. So congratulations to Coach Jones, who they too had a contract. See, that's what I'm saying. If Norfolk State, even with all the overtures from other schools, what did Norfolk State do? They offered an extension. They came with the money. They came with the money. So anyway, congratulations, Coach Jones. Congratulations, Norfolk State, on getting the win and the CIT. Now, this is the hot debate. Now, again, we haven't finalized our BCSN rankings. But rank your 1, 2, 3. And I know Dr. Cavill's got a poll that he does. That'll be interesting to see. But the poll debate, I think, is between Norfolk State, who finished with a championship, Grambling, who won the SWAC and got a win in the NCAA tournament. And is there a third school you mentioned? Who's the third school you mentioned? Howard.
Howard, you have to include Howard in the conversation, for the simple fact that they won the MEAC and they beat Norfolk 2 out of 3 times that they faced this year.
All right, so rank 1, 2, 3. Rank your own personal poll. Because only one of those teams finished their season with a win, which that's such a rarity in HBCU basketball.
But only one of those teams actually got a win in the NCAA tournament also.
Oh, okay. But that's not as rare as winning and finishing the season with a win. I'm just saying. All right, come on. Who's your 1, 2, 3? Come on.
If I was voting in Dr. Cavill's poll, Dr. Cavill, I'm probably going Norfolk 1, Grambling 2, Howard 3.
Ooh. Okay. There it is. I would be hard and again, Norfolk State did win the regular season for the MEAC.
Right.
So
and the debate is, okay, Norfolk, Grambling, regular season champs. Grambling, conference champion, conference tournament champion. Grambling, NCAA victory.
Mm-hmm.
But Norfolk won what, 2, 3 postseason games?
2 postseason games.
2 postseason games. Mm-hmm. 2 postseason games. So, at the level of competition in their postseason game was similar to the level of competition that Grambling had in their NC2A game. So, yeah, and now I'm reconsidering what I'm thinking. Now that I'm talking this out loud, I'm reconsidering this because I'm flipping it. I've got to give Grambling because I've got to give it to Grambling because of their conference championship. If Norfolk had won one edition
tournament, well, let's clarify. You're saying the conference tournament because again, Norfolk State did win the regular season.
That's equal. Both of them are equal on that.
Okay. Yes.
I'm throwing that out because they're equal. So, yeah, I because of that SWAC championship. Now, if Norfolk had won 3 postseason games, I would definitely lean to Norfolk. But the fact that they only had to win 2, and they had no control over that. But if they had won 3 games, it would be Norfolk in my eyes. But 2, I've got to go with that. I've got to go with that SWAC championship because technically they both lost a postseason game. Norfolk just happened to lose their postseason game in the MEAC tournament versus Grambling, who lost their postseason game in the NCAA tournament. And I have to value that SWAC championship over that CIT. And I'm splitting hairs, Brian, because if you ask me in the morning, I'm going to split hairs again and probably flip back the other way.
I would say, I've long said that I'm not a big fan of small/mid-major programs playing the conference tournament because you run the risk of your best team not going to the NCAA tournament. So I almost look at I look at the conference tournament as I hate to call it a throwaway, but I discount it because
I don't.
The reward of playing everybody in your conference twice should be enough. But to have to go and play the third 3 games in 3 days just for television dollars is
everybody in the SWAC doesn't play everybody twice because of the SWAC's unbalanced schedule. That's number one. So there are some where this is the second.
So why play 18 games then, Drew? Why play 18 games? So
we know that, and we know that's up for debate. They may reduce the number of games next year.
They don't need to reduce it. They need to make it more. Is what they need to do. Don't reduce the number of games. I keep hearing people
talk about reducing.
Okay, let me ask this. I keep hearing people say this. If they reduce the number of 18, what are they going to reduce it to? From
16.
18 to what? To 16?
16. Yeah.
So how balanced is the schedule then?
Well, you know what 16 is?
Is that 5 plus
16
1
is 16 is divisional. 16 would be equivalent to divisional play. If you took the same 6 and 6 that you have for football, you play everybody on your side in a double round. Right. That's 10. And then you play everybody on the opposite side once. 16 games.
Okay. Oh, hell, I actually like that. Now that I understand it better. I like that.
Yeah.
I do like that. I actually like that. Okay, I'm sorry.
It actually makes sense. Now, I don't know if they really actually want to technically call them divisions, but without calling them divisions, if you take their format, that's the formula.
Okay, so now that you do that, then in the conference tournament, everybody needs to go to the conference tournament. Then
that's a totally different debate.
See, there you go. The conference tournament.
If you wanted my opinion,
sure, we got it. Sure, show. Yeah, come on.
Okay, if you take everybody, top 4 get a bye.
Yep.
They go to the neutral sites.
Yep.
You have 5 through 12 play on campus.
Bingo.
Yep. And since you are shortening your conference schedule by 2 games, you actually have the room to move your schedule up. So that what you do is that right now, what has been the last Saturday of the year, that's your opening round.
Woo.
Your 5 through 12 play on campus.
There you go.
Which will cut it down to 8. And then you still go with your Thursday to Saturday, or Wednesday to Saturday,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Wednesday to Saturday, because now you've still got time to do your travel.
True.
Should you win on Saturday?
There you go. The BCSN SportsWrap just solved the SWAC's basketball problems right there.
Yeah. Now I don't know if that's what the guys what Dr. Cullen is recommending to him, but if you ask,
we hope so.
This brother here in South Georgia, that would be my proposal that I would send out to my athletic directors and my president's council.
All right, we'll make sure to clip this segment right here, and then we will rebroadcast this because that is a great way to run the SWAC basketball schedule. Love it, absolutely love it, Drew. Great job. Okay, let's get into some of those coaching things. You had a couple of talking points because I know we're coming up here on the close of the show. So let's make sure we hit a couple of those talking points on some of those coaching notes.
All right. First of all, go back. First one, I believe everybody should know. I've got to pull it back up. Coach Stephen Joyner has called it quits at Johnson C. Smith after earning his 600th victory this past season. He was honored at the end of the season for getting that 600 victory, and this comes from, I believe this comes from the Johnson C. Smith website. After 35 years as head coach of Johnson C. Smith University men's basketball team, Stephen Joyner Sr. is retiring. The legendary coach walks away with exactly 600 wins is recognized by the NCAA, the third most in NCAA men's college basketball history. After a stint as an assistant coach at Virginia Union, he received his first head coaching job position with Johnson C. Smith's women's team in '81, building the Golden Rams into one of the CIAA's most competitive programs. He guided the women's team to his first appearance in the NCAA South Atlantic region in '85. After compiling an 82 and 72 record with the women's team, Joyner took over as the men's head coach in '87. For nearly 3 decades, he has taken the men's program to unprecedented levels. In his final year, Joyner claimed his 600 win in an 80-74 win over Claflin on February 24th and coached his final tournament in Baltimore. Joyner reaching he reached 500 back in 2015. That's also what they wanted to say. So congratulations to Coach Joyner on your retirement. 3 CIAA Players of the Year, 34 All-Conference performers, 7 All-Americans. So yeah, pretty good career. Any comments on that before I move on?
600 is a nice number. It's a nice round number. It's a great way to end a coaching career. I mean, what is that average like? You said how many years did he coach?
30. How many on the men's side? Because those 600 were on the men's side. And actually, they said it was 600 as a men's coach. So he's 682. So he had 682 total victories.
Over how many years again?
He did 5 on the women's side. He did 35. Let's see, 35 as head coach of the men's team.
Okay.
So 40 years total.
30 years. Okay. Okay. That's about an average. I mean, just about 40 years is a long time. I mean, again, you're dealing with probably at that point 2 generations.
3.
Probably a lot of, well, I'm saying, but you're talking about kids that you coached. And then by the time, no, I don't know if it's that 4. Nah, not that really. I mean, because kids that you would have coached in the first 10 years, let's just keep it real. By the time you got 20 years past them,
Brian, the chance that you've coached a grandchild is there.
Okay, maybe somebody off his first
of your first or second team, add 18 to that. Wait a minute, they may have already had kids by the time he coached them. They may have already had like a 2-year-old.
Okay, well, anyway.
So you add 16 and 18, add another 18. That's 36 years, Brian.
40 years is a heck of a long time to coach.
But I'll raise you. I see your 40 and raise you 45.
Oh, 45. Jeez.
45 years.
Who did 45 years?
Yes. And this goes to Coach Robert Skinner from Albany State University, who just completed his 45th season of coaching, 33 at Albany State. And now, Coach Skinner has won over 1,400 games as a college coach. Y'all looking at me like I'm crazy. Y'all looking at y'all phone or whatever.
1,440. Wow.
As a collegiate coach. How do you do that? Because he coached 3 different sports at Albany State during his tenure there. He won 620 games as the women's basketball coach. Let's see. Let me find the. Okay, I got to go back and pull the other article. He won. Over 400 in volleyball. So that's over 1,000 right there.
Mm-hmm.
And the remainder were in softball.
Mm.
So he's coached, did the high school. I guess he did the high school thing at one point in time, Ryan. You know, you got the same coach for all your sports, for all your women's sports. Go just from go indoor, outdoor.
Yeah.
So Coach Skinner, over 300 in softball, over 400 in volleyball, and over 600 in basketball. He also he started his coaching career at Payne.
Mm-hmm.
Where he went 160 and 165 at Payne.
Is he in the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame? I don't know if the state of Georgia has a Hall of Fame, but if not, he probably should be.
I know they do have a Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's not, but he damn sure should be.
Exactly. I mean, when you put in 45 years, and now definitely I feel confident.
33 at Albany State.
Yeah, 33 at Albany State. I mean, that's
but even Payne is still in Georgia, so
yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the state of Georgia, I mean, his name, he belongs in the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's not in there or whatever the equivalent of that is. So congratulations to not only the Coach Joyner, but to Coach Skinner on 2 amazing runs. Sometimes when I hear stuff like that, I get a little jealous and wish I had stayed in coaching longer. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Brian, you also have to be lucky. How many people get a coaching job coming out of college at 22, 23 years old?
You're right. You're right. That part right there.
Yeah.
That right. Yeah.
Most people under the age of 25 don't get that opportunity at a college.
You're right. Yeah. I didn't start until late 20s. So yeah, you're right. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
So you have to not only be good, but you have to be lucky in the right situation.
Yeah. True. Very true. Very true. Okay. I did want to, so the basketball now, again, Black College Sports Network, we're finishing up. I know a lot of other organizations, a lot of news, other sites have put out their All-American list and their players of the year. That's something that we're working on finishing, including our national champion and top 5 teams. Usually we have a weekly or even bi-weekly rankings. Didn't have that this year, but this year we will release our finalists, our champions, as well as our individual awards. So sometime over the next week or two, we'll put that together. We'll publish it, talk about it here on this show, obviously, like we do a lot of other stuff. But now our attention really begins to move towards spring sports. Spring football is happening, spring sports, and it'll be a lot of talk about, guess what, our favorite sport to talk about, football. Among all the other stuff that'll be happening. I know the draft is coming up. I'm not anticipating, Drew, talking a lot about the draft because I feel like we're gonna run that same conversation and that same level of disappointment in hyping up the draft, which, great.
I've got a question for you, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead.
How much UFL football did you watch this weekend?
I watched more UFL football than I did women's basketball. I'm just gonna be honest. I did. I watched a great fourth quarter game between your St. Louis Battlehawks.
Don't talk to me about that game right now.
and the Michigan Panthers, which I didn't turn on the TV until like the last 9 minutes of the fourth quarter. Very entertaining ball game. Very, including I saw a kid kick not one, but 2 64-yard field goals. Of course, the first one didn't count, but he knocked the second one through, and that was pretty awesome.
Do you know, Brian, that not only the longest field goal in NFL history, but now the longest field goal in UFL history were both kicked in Ford Field?
Yes, I saw that tweet. I think I retweeted that.
And they would kick in the same direction.
Where they? I didn't know that part. I didn't know. Same direction.
Yes, same direction.
That's funny.
Was it Jason Elam?
No.
Not Jason Elam.
The kicker from Baltimore.
Yeah.
Tucker. Something Tucker. I know that's the last name, Tucker.
Yeah, but they were both in the same direction.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I did see a ridiculous fake punt that turned into a touchdown today in the UFL. I think it was by San Antonio against DC. San Antonio Brahmas against the DC Defenders. They were about to kick which would have been a field goal. They were about to kick a long field goal. And then it ended up. What? No, come on, man. Get out of here. Get out of here, Edwin. No. It was a fake. So anyway, the fake fake punt. Well, actually, did it start out as a field goal? Yeah, it started out as a field goal. Then they called a timeout. I think they were trying to ice the guy. Then it turned into a pooch punt. You thought they were going to do a pooch punt. It turned out being a touchdown pass to a center eligible. So literally a guy who's a center on the team was lined up far out on the left side of the line. He was eligible, ended up finding his way running down the middle of the field, caught a touchdown pass from the punter 30 yards down the field. And then what the crazy part is, the punter said in the post game, he said when they ran that in practice, there's only one route. Now, Drew, it's crazy. He said there's only one route that he was supposed to throw to. That one route was not open. So guess what he did? He threw it to the guy who was open. And he said, we normally never catch the ball, but he caught it and scored a touchdown. It's the most amazing play that you'll probably see in the football. So I'm all in on the UFL. I'm all in.
And I'm not going to talk about the 4-letter. But I hope that's on the top 10 because the 64-yarder was not on the top 10.
Yeah, no, I can't name the players involved, Edwin. I'm sorry. I can't. They're not household names just yet. I'll tell you what, they weren't HBCU guys, unfortunately. I'll tell you that.
Did you spot any HBCU guys playing? Because during the times in which I was watching, I didn't hear any HBCU names called that I was familiar with. I'm not saying they weren't out there, maybe on the line somewhere or something, but I didn't see any, especially any skill positions.
Hey, again, me neither. Sadly, me neither. So we'll have to do a scan of the UFL rosters. Maybe that'll give me. Yes, yeah, that'll give me something to do maybe tomorrow, and maybe by next week I'll kind of see if there's any guys playing on any rosters from any schools, but that'll be something. Can I make quick
last thing on the UFL? But I guess as HBCU diaspora, I guess we have to be DC Defender fans because Reggie Barlow's their coach.
Yeah. Hey, I interested. Like I had someone ask me why Reggie Barlow was interested in the FAMU job. You know, obviously his name was up for. His name was listed as one of those coaches.
He didn't know if they were going to keep his team. I would have been looking too.
Well, that and it's funny you mentioned that. Yes, that and the fact that going from the XFL to the UFL was a pay cut, really, because there's an article that I read that said he made almost the XFL coaches last year made almost about $500,000. Well, going into this year as part of the UFL, there was an agreement to take a reduction in salary. Now, it wasn't listed what that reduction is or was, but of the 4 franchises that came over, the only one whose coach did not was Hines Ward. I guess the pay was too low for Hines Ward, and he was like, "Nah, I'm out. I'm good." So, but the other 3 former XFL coaches all chose to come over into the UFL with their team. So, again, all right. So, one other question that I know. EA had asked me a question about the finances of Jackson State and Norfolk State in the NCAA tournament. I did not get a chance. I didn't get a chance to look into that, EA, regarding the finances of the tournament, because the only thing that I saw when I looked into the finances of the NCAA women's tournament was that I knew going into this season they had signed, or obviously they had signed a new television package. So there was increased revenue for the women's game. So I'm still trying to find out specifically, what what kind of funds and what is covered and what else. So bear with me on that question, and we'll kind of see what I can find out on that.
Yeah.
I want to make mention of softball real quick, Drew, if you don't mind, because I just want to let people know, obviously, in softball, just some quick updated standings in the SWAC and MEAC. Did you know over in the MEAC, did you know that Howard is currently 22-7 in the MEAC? 22-7 overall. Now that's against Division I opponents. I think I saw somewhere else they have 25, so they maybe have 3 wins against non-Division I opponents. But they're on a 7-game winning streak. They are sitting at 8-1 in conference play, actually tied with Morgan State. Morgan State's also 8-1 in conference play. Coppin State is in 3rd with a record of 7-2. So that's Howard women over in the MEAC. And quickly, I can tell you who they have upcoming. Oh, they got Delaware State this upcoming weekend. So that's neither here nor there for Howard. Over on the SWAC side, SWAC's getting pretty interesting. Florida A&M with a big weekend series over Bethune. Both teams went into the weekend tied in first place in the Eastern Division. Florida A&M won 2 of 3. So that puts the Rattlers in first place by 1 game over Bethune. In the East Division, FAM is at 10-2 in conference play, 14-15 overall. Bethune is 9-3 in conference play, 11-21 overall. And yes, G-Boom, Prairie View is them girls. They're 11-0.
Prairie View is the Jackson State of softball.
Oh, stop it. I'm not going to do that. I would never do that to Prairie View. But they are 11-0. Did they win the SWAC last year?
I think, didn't they lose like
Who won the
in
SWAC softball
the
last
championship. Didn't Alcorn?
year? It may have been. It may have been. Somebody tell us.
They lost in the champ. I believe they lost in the championship game.
Alcorn?
I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think they did.
Well, yeah, Prairie View, they're still unbeaten, 11-0.
That Alcorn took them and should have beaten them. I can't remember. I remember that was a good game, Alcorn and Prairie View last year.
Yeah, the next closest team in terms of wins is Southern. Southern is 7-5, but Southern's actually in third. No, Edwin says Alcorn lost in the championship game last year. So
okay. I'm sorry.
So yeah. So yeah, Alcorn. Well, I don't know who. So who won this? Okay, see now I guess I'm gonna have to go while I'm here in softball. I don't even know who won the championship last year. That sucks. Here you go. Real quick summary. It was Prairie View. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Prairie View's won the last 2 seasons. I thought it was. Prairie View's won the last 2 seasons. Nope. Prairie View's won the last 2 seasons. Alabama State won the year before, and this is all post-COVID. The post-COVID season. So Prairie View right now sitting in first place in the West, unbeaten. FAMU sitting in first place in the East. All right. Baseball. Edwin. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, they swept Jackson State. Jackson State came to Tallahassee unbeaten, 5-0, and they got served. They got served a plate of Rattler venom, and we sent them back home to Jackson with their tail between their legs. And so, you know, the war is on. The war is on. It's back on now. You know, I'd already seen it. And so just expect for your timeline to be littered for the next few days with a lot of hate talk between Jackson State and FAMU folks. So I'm just warning y'all now. You're going to see it in your timeline because, you know, anytime the Rattlers take out Jackson State, it's liable to get messy in them streets. So yeah, I won't be participating in it though. I'm calling peace on all that stuff.
I'm calling BS on that, Brian.
You don't think I can stay out of it?
No, you know you can't. I'm calling. People
come looking for me, Drew. I don't go looking for them. People come looking for me. It's so unnecessary.
Yes,
but
you're starting to get that reputation.
I had a great week this week. You know, I figured out when I don't tweet about Jackson State, I have a very nice week. So I'm gonna see if I can carry that forward into a second week. When I don't tweet about Jackson State, I can tweet about everybody. I can even get involved with Howard and Morgan State. I can even talk and laugh about that. But yeah, when I don't comment about Jackson State, man, my timeline stays clean. So I think I will exercise my right to do that again and see how long it can carry me through. You know, I'm just going, you know, can I at least like the tweets that some of my fellow Rattlers put out there? Am I allowed to at least like
that's
them?
That's the start of the petty.
But see, I can like it without retweeting it. And see, that's the thing. You can like without
nobody knows if you like it on Twitter.
No, that's false. No, that's false. It still shows up. You see, I think at least it used to. It used to show up like if you liked something, it showed up in the timeline like, oh, this person liked that. I had to be careful about some tweets I was like.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Yeah, exactly. Uh-oh. Exactly. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
That's what bookmarks were created for. I'm just putting y'all on it. Don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble. Just let y'all know.
Brian, you better take your beef to Threads.
Hey, exactly. Oh, well, because nobody's there. Is that what it is?
Exactly.
Nobody's on Thread. That's no fun, Drew. Nobody's on Thread. So hell, you know, we can talk mess all day. All All right, here we go. Baseball talk. Baseball talk. Here we go. Yes, HBCU band talk. Yes. Right now, in first place, by just a half a game. Bethune-Cookman is in first place in the SWAC East with a 7-1 conference record. FAMU, after sweeping Jackson State, is in second place, 7-2. Both Bethune and FAMU won 3 games, won their series sweeps. I think Bethune played Alabama A&M. Jackson State falls into a tie for third with Alabama State 5-3. Alabama State ended up sweeping their series over the weekend. So that's how the East looks. Over on the West side, how about Grambling? Grambling State sitting at 7-1 in conference, 10-15 overall. Southern sits right behind them at 5-1, 11-13. Southern winning 3 over the weekend. And Texas Southern in third with a 4-3 record. And really what's interesting, Drew, is you got, so like Grambling has played 8 games. Southern has played 6. And these are conference games. Texas Southern has played 7. So, I mean, the first 3 are so uneven in terms of the record. You know, Grambling with 8, Southern with 6, Texas Southern with 7. So, you know, the SWAC organizes the standings based on win percentage, not necessarily like how we used to look at, you know, when we look at a baseball standings in a major league, it's like you have that top
1.5 games behind. And
exactly. So it's like, you know, I don't know. And I always wonder whether these games will get made up.
Well, that's the thing, Brian. This may be the first weekend in 2024 where I do not recall a game being rained down in the SWAC at all.
Really?
Yes. I know every other weekend somebody has lost a game somewhere in the schedule due to weather, baseball and softball. So, or you've had to do some creative rearranging of the schedule to try to get the games in. I believe everyone got the games in this weekend.
Okay.
On their normally scheduled day.
Right. Yeah, they man, look at this. I'm gonna tell you the score of a game and you tell me the score.
I already know which one it is.
Well,
Alcorn, was it the Alcorn UAPB game that you were going with?
No, it wasn't actually. No, I was I saw that. I heard about that. That was that Friday when they did that to them? Ooh,
it was game 1 of the series. It had to be Thursday.
9-3. Jesus, man. No, I was actually.
Did they win the series? Because I know they won Friday.
Oh yeah.
Did they win Saturday?
Yeah. Now, I'm seeing. Now I don't know if this is a glitch in the system. Well, actually, no, because actually they did. Let me see. Thursday, no.
Thursday, Friday. Everybody was Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay, so the schedule is somehow off because it shows the same score. And I'm looking at the SWAC schedule, SWAC.org, and it's showing Pine Bluff beating Alcorn 16-4, but it shows it twice. So I don't know if there was a double header. That's the score I was going to tell you about today. That was the football score I saw. I just peeped on and saw. Now, this is on the heels of Southern and Prairie View playing an 11-10 game on Saturday. So, great offense.
Is it great offense or is it just bad pitching?
Pitching, yeah. Because look, Texas Southern and Grambling, 15-13. I mean, the scores of these West Division games are absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, is the pitching that bad in the West? I'm about to do a deep dive this week and really analyze and look at the pitching numbers. And I'm going to go in conference play. I'm not going to use overall stats because if you use overall stats, you're playing Power 5 programs, and those stats aren't going to be good.
Yeah. But just traditionally, the East has been the pitchers division, and the West has been the hitters division.
Yeah, well, we see how that works out when it gets time to the playoff, the championships, right? You end up with two Eastern Division teams.
Right, or at 3 of the Final 4 from the East.
3 of the Final 4 from the East. And it'll probably be like that again this year. I'm just saying. So, we'll see. Monday, tomorrow in Baton Rouge, you got a Southern versus LSU matchup happening in Daytona. Tuesday, Bethune-Cookman is actually hosting UCF at their ballpark at Daytona Beach on Tuesday. Florida A&M travels to take on the University of Florida, a rematch of the NCAA regional game they played. It looks like on Tuesday, Jackson State and Arkansas Pine Bluff are going to play. I don't know if that's sort of a makeup game. But there's some other interesting games happening during the midweek.
That's a midweek. That's just a non-conference midweek because they're on two different sides.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Pine Bluff's on the west, so that's just a regular midweek situation.
Let's see. Texas Southern playing Tulane on Wednesday. Bethune-Cookman traveling to Florida State. Let's see what else. And then the schedule starts again on Friday. Friday's big series. Who did I say was in first place in the West? Grambling and Prairie View. Big series at Prairie View. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Alabama State travels to Tallahassee to take on Florida A&M. There's a big series happening in Tallahassee. Jackson State coming back to Florida again, taking on Bethune-Cookman in a series, taking on BCU. That'll be a good series. So
that series right there will probably do more to shape the East than the FAMU Alabama State series.
I agree.
Yeah. Because you got 2 and 3 playing each other.
Yep.
Or 1 and 3. Yeah. 2 and 3.
1 and 3. 1 and 3. Bethune's still in first place.
Right. 1 and 3. So if Jackson State can rebound and lick their wounds, those Tigers can lick their wounds from the snake bites that they took this weekend, then they could actually help vault Florida A&M into first place. Or also between these two series, we could wind up with a cluster after this weekend.
Yeah.
Should Jackson State and Alabama State sweep, we would have a official cluster.
Can't imagine Alabama State's coming down. Good squad, but we'll see. That's
I'm just doing the math.
Yeah,
I'm just doing the math. Yeah,
just doing the math. All right, so there's a quick look ahead. We'll talk more baseball and talk more baseball and softball. We'll try to do a little digging into the polls. Black College 9 baseball polls. Take a look at some of the softball rankings that are out there as well, and we'll start digging into that next week. Sound good?
Sounds like a whiner.
Okay. I don't have anything left. Anything else you want to add before we pack up the show and get out of here?
And this may be a discussion for another show, but just wanted to bring up something that Dr. Gaville put out there, and I'm pretty sure he's going to hit a little bit on this on one of his shows this week. What are the items that institutional athletic programs need to provide to coaches to have success? That's a loaded question.
It is. It is.
And with it, let's start with the basic ones. Money, facilities.
Well, roll that back. Money for what? I think that's a money, and then
let's go.
What is
let's go.
Your
Let's go
1A,
scholarship.
1B,
Let's-
1C?
Let's go scholarships.
You prioritize money for scholarships over money for.
Okay, let's take money out. Let's take money out.
No, I think that no.
The reason I say that, take it out, because that's such a generic term. I wanted to get a little bit more specific.
But no, you can be specific. I think you can be specific when you say money, because within the realm of money, what I was thinking when you said money, I'm thinking scholarships,
correct,
coaching,
facilities.
Before we even get the facilities, before you even get the facilities, Drew, you got money. You said scholarships, coaching, and then the third thing is recruiting, because you got to be able to host these kids that are potentially coming to your campus, and you got to be able to go places to see kids, right? So, but on the scale of those three, what's your priority? Is the priority scholarships for your kids to be able to be around in the summer? And then after that, does it come down to your coaching staff so you can have a full coaching staff? Or is it the recruiting budget? Which could you do more or less with?
Interesting debate. Interesting
What
question.
was,
I'm not going. I don't have any answers right now, but I'm just throwing out the topics.
I
like this one, Evan.
Yeah. I think that falls under money, but I don't know. I don't think that falls directly under the primary question. You throw the question back up there again from that Doc asked. Yeah. So for a coach to have success, I don't know if having the cost of attendance in a collective, I don't know where that ranks on the money scale for a coach.
I'm gonna give you something.
Go ahead.
And don't laugh at me on this one. Successful football program. Because everything financially from the athletic department starts with football.
Okay.
I mean, look at what we just saw in this NCAA Final Four. Alabama and Clemson. Two football powerhouses, two programs who make buttloads of money with football.
Mm-hmm.
And with their collectives and everything else, NILs, they're investing some of this into some of their other sports, such as basketball, to get a competitive basketball team now.
Can we rephrase or reshape something? And I had a great conversation with Doc the other day, and it has me, when we say NILs, I don't think people don't know what that really means, and as it relates to the athletic department, because I think what the athletic department, most athletic departments don't necessarily control NIL. NIL is a thing, right? It's a subject, but it's something that the athletic department can put together and create to the benefit of student athletes and businesses, but they don't have any direct impact. You know what I'm saying?
All they are is the middleman, or can be the middleman. They're not necessarily the middleman. They can be the middleman to introduce these athletes to these
I
potential.
don't even think they're the middleman is the wrong way of saying it, Drew. I think when you say middleman, you think of, hey, I got these two people and I'm going to introduce these two people, versus thinking of it as a bridge. They're the bridge that you as the business and you and the student athlete can walk across to connect with one another, getting from A to B and B to C. That's the bridge, you know? And so the question is, where can the athletic department benefit and do something with NIL? Well, by maybe publicizing, promoting, talking about this connection, which, for example, I'm going to use what Florida A&M has called Rattler Local Exchange, which they run through a company called Influencer, which is a program that essentially connects businesses with students or student athletes, right? But the problem is, the disconnect is, a lot of people, businesses, don't know about it, don't know how it really works, and don't know the benefit of it. But there are people who have used it, and those people should be your they should be your, for lack of a better word, your guinea pigs, or they should be your marketing example. They should be the ones you spotlight, right?
Like the glazed donut.
Yes, but what you do with the glazed donut is you go to
Krispy
the
Kreme,
manager of Krispy Kreme or whomever put that together, and you get them to talk about how they created and used the Rattler Local Exchange to connect with a certain student athlete. Or we have our good Dr. Lori, who's a moderator on our Wednesday show. She has a dentistry, and she has used Rattler Local Exchange to connect with student athletes for her businesses. She would be a great example to promote and say, here's a business owner, also a Florida A&M supporter, who used this exchange program, you know? And so that's how the bridge can be marketed. It's almost like, it's like this, Drew. It's like saying, hey, I hate to use bridges given all the things that happen in Baltimore. Prayers to those people in Baltimore.
Yes.
But it's like, hey, here's this bridge, which is a shorter route to get to where you want to get to. Let's tell you how to get there. Let's show you how to make it work, how it can benefit you, the business, and the student athlete, and how your support is helping our student athletes. That is what athletic departments can do, which I don't know. I'm at you guys out there. What does your university do? How does your university promote their exchange?
If they even have one.
If they even have one. Right. You know, now, yeah. And the collective thing is a whole nother thing, whole nother conversation. But anyway.
Yeah. But just wanted to throw that out there. I'm pretty sure, I love Dr. Kavir. He likes to have these lectures with the other professors, and sometimes before he takes it to you guys on the podcast, just to get our feedback from us via the chat before he takes it on the podcast. And sometimes we have some interesting discussions and some interesting debates.
Yeah, I would love to break that down a little more. You know, I'll be watching the show this week to see whether Doc gets into talking about that. But I'd love to, maybe you and I can both kind of write down our thoughts to that question, and then maybe see what we come up with as what's important. And I don't know, maybe it's one of those questions that, I can send an email to a few coaches that I know and kind of get their take and ask them, what do you think to this question? Now's a great time to do research stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I saw, was it on Carlos's show? I know Carlos recently had Dr. Jason Cable on the show Saturday.
Yeah, that was Saturday.
Yeah, and by the way, if you happen to miss Carlos's show yesterday, you can go to the BCSN Pod Zone and listen to it. Great show with Carlos, Charles, Coach Petway, A.D. Wheeler Brown. But they were getting into discussion, and I couldn't remember. I had a question about whether that AD should. I had to go back and look at the live chat and see if I can remember what my question was, but it was almost like a survey. That one of those questions that you need to kind of find out how athletic directors think and what their thoughts are on certain things.
Was it about the money games? When we talk about scheduling and how to do the scheduling with the money games, because I know that was a big topic during that interview.
For basketball?
Yes.
I don't know. But I know Carlos's stance was, if you reduce the conference schedule by 2 games, what are you going to do with those 2 extra games?
For a lot of schools, they're going to go out and get 2 more money games.
Right. But here's where
instead of coming in 0-13, they're going to come in 0-15.
Exactly. But Jesus. With that said, though, Drew, or worse, they do the other thing, which is they schedule under the Division I level and just end up ruining the rating of the conference. But anyway, with the scheduling portion of things, what are you going to do with the money that you get? Like, I'd love to get a survey and find out, like, Texas Southern is well advertised and known, even though it's not like they don't advertise it, but people talk about it. Like, the money that they go out and get for their games goes right back into the basketball program, right? I don't know if every school's like that. I feel like yeah. So I was going to say, I know for a fact every school is not like that. So the question is, if your school is not like that, why is it not? Why is it not?
Talk to the CFO.
Or if it is, what is the percentage that goes back into the program? If you go out and get $100,000 game against University of Kentucky, how much of that $100K goes into the basketball program and how much goes into the general athletic budget?
Like Coach Petway said, he don't mind going out and playing these money games long as he gets it back. Is that money from that money game? Is that going to my cost of attendance? Is that going to my nutrition table? Is that going to a shooting machine or whatever type of equipment that I need for my program? Is that going into my recruiting budget? In those circumstances, like Coach Petway said, he don't mind getting his head beat in a couple of times to do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, when it comes contract negotiation time or evaluation time, do our athletic directors really look at your record? And of those, because you're below 500, how many of those below 500s were money games? So when you're not playing a money game, what's your record when you're not playing a money game? Every AD does not separate those. We know this as a fact.
I would love to, man, I'm walking myself into these projects that I'm talking about here. So we have the SWAC and the MEAC. Bottom, I guess let's just take the bottom third. Let's just chop off the bottom third of conferences, right, Drew? Let's see. So we're say from let's see, there's 33 conferences. What's that, from 24 on down, right?
Okay.
And here's the study that we need to look at. We need to look at among the 24 of the last 8 or 9. What is the percentage of games against quad 1 and quad 2? Because I think if we able to look at quad 1 and quad 2, those are most likely the games where you're going to go out and get some money, right?
Right.
Okay. What's the average number of games being played by these conferences versus quad 1 and quad 2? A. B, what is these conferences' non-conference record? Right? And you might even separate it by looking at the top half. Break each conference in half. Like if there's 10 teams, 12 teams, give me the top 6 and the bottom 6. So among the top 6, the non-conference record might be higher than the bottom 6. That's reasonable, right? And then
again, there may not be too much of a difference.
There might not be. Right.
Conference may only have 2 wins.
Right. And then, because I think all of those leagues, 24 on down, are 1-bid leagues, if I'm not mistaken. Most of them, I'd be surprised if I saw any of them with 2 bids in the NCAA. So now the question becomes, after you've done that research of and then take that and let's juxtapose those conferences, excluding the HBCU, MEAC, and SWAC. And now let's look at the MEAC and SWAC against those other conferences and say, well, if the MEAC, why are the MEAC and SWAC? Oh, I think we also have to look at operating budget too. I forgot that. We have to look at that, don't we? We have to look at these schools and say, what is their operating budget? Like a school like Oakland University in Detroit can have a $2.3 million basketball budget. Do we have any SWAC schools that are operating at a $2.3 million operating budget?
But you have to you can't compare Oakland to a SWAC school. You would have to compare them to 2 MEAC schools, which would be Maryland Eastern Shore and Coppin, because Oakland does not have football. And your budget changes significantly based on whether you have football or do not have football. So you have to compare them to a non-football playing school.
So there's another little sliver that we have to look at is football playing conferences and non-football playing conferences / schools. Yeah. Yes. Okay, man. All right, I just walked myself into a summer project. Can I get into somebody's master's program if I can put all this stuff together? Just
hey,
asking
Doc,
for a friend.
Hit Brian up.
Just asking for a friend. I'm trying to see if I can work into a master's degree or something before I go sign up for something that I might have already signed up for. Just saying. I signed up for something because I was feeling bad about myself, and I was like, let me look into this. And next minute I know I done filled out FAFSA and all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like, slow down, what's going on here? Where am I going with my life? I'm like, Jesus. I got calls every day. Anyway, all right, that's it. That's it. All right, Drew, let's get out of here. I'm getting lunchy. Do they still show the 10 Commandments on Sunday night on ABC?
You getting lunchy?
I'm getting hungry, lunchy, whatever the word is. I haven't eaten in a minute.
Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been a minute. I haven't eaten since lunch is what I'm saying.
I didn't see that particular one when I was scrolling through today, but I did see plenty of Life of Jesus type
Netflix had a new
show.
show on. Netflix had a new one on. But how do you not have the 10 Commandments showing on Easter night on ABC? That's like a staple, isn't it? Tradition.
I don't know, man. I don't know. So it's just one of those things, man.
All
Hey,
right,
let's pick up this show and get out of here, man.
Yep. Again, we want to thank Coach Chris Wright for coming in and joining us earlier in the show. We appreciate him. Congratulations again to the Langston Lions. Congratulations to Norfolk State. Congratulations to North Carolina A&T women. Congratulations to Grambling State. All programs who were playing deep into March. I think this is unprecedented. I don't know if there's been a March where so many schools, and again, it was 12 programs on 3 different levels were playing after the conference tournament. Actually, it was more than that, really. Yeah, it was more than that, really. If you count the number of D2 and NAIA, but I mean, so if I did the math right, 12 plus, yeah, almost 20. There was over 20 HBCU programs playing postseason basketball in the second half of the month of March. So yes, I see it. I see it. Yes, I see it. I'm gonna have to. Well, let me add Texas Southern to my FAFSA list that I already filled out. Nugget. Since I'm already plugged in and got a code and all that, I need to go ahead and fill out my stuff ASAP.
I hope that's online, Doc. I hope that's online.
Oh, he did. He said it's an online program, which is cool.
Yes, sir.
Which is cool. So go check out the BCSN Pod Zone, please. If you like to listen to podcasts, download podcasts, go check out BCSN Pod Zone on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Google and Apple Podcasts. Everywhere you love and listen to podcasts, you can check it out. So appreciate you guys checking out the show tonight. Thank you, Emmett. Happy Easter to everybody. I'm going to go see if I can find the 10 Commandments on ABC. That's what I'm going to do tonight. Any other final thoughts?
Don't forget to go and vote for Morgan. I see that she picked up 40 votes during the show tonight. So thank y'all.
All right.
Yeah. Yes. So thank y'all for doing that.
You have that short link. Put that short link in there one more time in the chat.
Hold up.
You have it handy?
I got to put it back in there. No, I don't. You're going to have to go back and wait. There it is. Hold up.
Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, Tuesday night, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Then on Wednesday night, the ONG Strike Zone, we get into talking all things about Florida A&M athletics, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. And Doc follows up again with another show on Thursday night. And then there you go. That short link is right there. Give one more time the young lady's name again, Drew, just in case people might have joined us in the second half of the show.
Morgan Hunter. She's originally from Notasulga, Alabama. She played 4 years of basketball at Tougaloo College. She was a 4-year starter at Tougaloo College. She's in her first year post-college career, and she's teaching, and she is trying to become America's favorite teacher. So let's help her win. That's HBCU to HBCU. Let's show her some support.
All right. And that's shameful, Jeremiah. You know, I'm gonna go. I'm not that bad. Come on now. But I am going to watch so I can feel better about myself and apologize and pray for the Lord. Forgive me for my sins, Father. There we go. All right. So appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody for contributing. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you didn't already. Do us a solid. As always, we appreciate you. Appreciate your support of the Black College Sports Network. Join our YouTube channel at MyJBN Online. Join the YouTube channel and be a part of this thing that we're building. Continue to build. 25 years of covering HBCU sports right here at the Black College Sports Network. All right, for A.D. Drew, I'm Brian Fulford. Thanks for watching tonight. You guys be well, be blessed. Hope you and your family have a happy Easter. Have a great Easter Monday for those of you who are off. And for the rest of you, have a great start to your work week. Peace out.
He has risen indeed. Travel light, everybody. We'll holla.
But you stay hard.